Hello. It is 4:46 a.m. on Saturday, the 12th of January 2019. And yesterday we had a horrific bus crash where 3 people were killed and 23 people were injured, 14 critically, and just horrific. It was in Kanata, and that's where I am, is Kanata. Well, I'm actually not quite Kanata, but the area is called Kanata, where I am. Anyway, and a young girl, Jamie, was freed from her captor. She freed herself. She got free, and she made it safe to safety, so thank God for that. Thank you, dear God. Thank you, Jamie, for being so smart. And thank you, Elizabeth Smart, for your courage and beauty. And also Jamie, and anybody else who is in captivity with some horrific person. And the girl who sought asylum in Canada. Anyway, I've been under the weather the last little while with the cold, and I'm in my PJs, but I just really wanted to talk now and say a few things that are really on my mind. These days, young people maybe don't have a moral compass. That's what a lot of people are thinking. Basically, it comes down to good and evil. And everything in between. But good and evil. And knowing that you have to be accountable for what you do and say and think. You have to be accountable for yourself. So that's the only moral compass you need. And be realistic that we are all going to sometimes do devilish things or things that might not be in the super good side of the good column. They could be a little bit on the dark side, but it's just each individual story. Each person has their own story. So whatever your story is. And I wanted to speak on this. One of the American presidents, I don't remember who it was, maybe Gerald Ford, I'm not quite sure who, but somebody's put the war on drugs, or maybe it was Reagan, I don't know. But they declared war on drugs, and it's a complete preposterous thing. Why war on yourself? If you've ever taken an aspirin, you take drugs. It's like if you're a thief, if you've ever taken a paperclip, you're a thief. So it's just degrees. How much are you doing drugs? Like, are you doing it constantly all day long? Like, or maybe you're popping, or maybe you're smoking a joint once every 3 hours or something. Like, it's drugs. Like, what are drugs? If you've ever taken an aspirin, you've taken drugs. So the question, and also car design. Car design is so poor. It's so awful. It is so grievous a design for what its purpose is. It has to be changed. It is such a completely ridiculous design. And you have to be accountable for yourself. There's no calling on some 2,000-year-old spirit and saying that's going to get you anywhere if your spirit is mean and terrible, and you're just hoping that because you pledged allegiance to something you're going to get a better deal in the afterlife. It's whatever your spirit is what your spirit is. and it will go wherever it's meant to go. And that's just the way it is. And we are each accountable for ourselves. Okay, drugs are not, I'm just reading what I had written down as notes here for when I was thinking that I really wanted to do this podcast. Drugs are not a problem, they are a part of our life. Being cool and getting kicks, yes, by times. We need to get through this earth time. So obviously we need all the help we can get. So war on drugs, like, are you kidding me? It's ridiculous. Because you never know when you're going to die or how you're going to die. So, car accident, death, grievous injury versus an OD of something. Well, there's such a thing as not overdoing something so that it does kill you. Anything, if you overdo it, will kill you. I think over-exercise, that'll kill you too. And if you overdo in ingesting something, it'll kill you too. Alcohol poisoning, why not war on alcohol? It's like, it's ridiculous. War on something is ridiculous. No, you have to say peace, peace. Let's accept that we all are. This is a society of pills. It is. We rely on our pharmaceuticals to help us in many, many, many ways. So you turn around and I tell my parents, you're taking more drugs than I'm taking. But I'm taking quite a few drugs too because I'm bipolar. So, and I have a thyroid condition. So, let me tell you how it is. Drug empire, booze empire, oil empire, sugar empire, farming empire. They're all empires that are in this world. To wage a war against something that is completely a part of our necessary life, to have a war on it is completely counterproductive. It is, and as a matter of fact, I saw a show today, or earlier today, Highway to Heaven with Michael Landon, and it was called, I think, Parents' Day or something like that. Parents' Day? I don't know what it was. I don't. But anyway, it was about Michael Landon and his friend were police officers, and they were cracking down on people doing drugs. And it was a family they were focusing on mostly. That the father was a broadcaster on television, and he was a cocaine user, but he was being hypocritical because the son of this broadcaster was in the school and they found a joint on him. So they were saying he was a drug user. So they were the father was shitting on him, saying, "I'm so disappointed in you." Meanwhile, he's a cocaine addict. And then they busted him for the cocaine, and everybody was just up in arms and aggravated, and everybody was accusing everybody of everything else. If you just accepted that everybody is going to do their pot and their coke or whatever they like to do to get through the day and still be able to function and have a life and not be on some street corner like totally trashed out of your mind. What degree are things happening? What degree? You could say somebody's addicted to sugar and is 600 pounds sitting there in a living room doing nothing. Or somebody's cracked out on a corner doing crack. So it's like, what extent are things? There's always extremes of everything. So I'm just saying that, like, just be realistic. Let's have a real shake ourselves and say, let's really talk what is realistic. what really is happening, not what our minds are so propaganda, narrowing our minds to thinking like this. Thank God Canada legalized pot. It's like, pot is a plant, for Christ's sakes. Pot is a plant. It's a plant. It's really, society is not always right with what they're trying to barrel down our throats. They're not always right. And God has given me wisdom because I've asked God for wisdom, and God has given me wisdom, and I'm here because God planted me here for this exact purpose, to speak to people, to try and help people to get through this life, because that's the point. Isn't the point to get through this life as happily and with as least amount of friction as possible? Unless somebody is a combative person, they want combat, that's true too. Like, you have to accept that that's part of it, that we have that warring side to us as human creatures. But I think the point is to get through as nicely and as happily as you can. And it's basically live and let live. The girl from Saudi Arabia that was seeking asylum, abusive people, like abuse, that's the word. The word is abuse. If somebody is abusing somebody, you can see it. You can see if somebody is abusing somebody. If they're doing something to make the other person cry or feel uncomfortable or unhappy, that is abuse. So that's not right. That's not right. And the thing with religion, it does abuse people. It abuses you. It makes you feel less about yourself. That, oh, this is saying this is a sin, and this is a sin, and don't do this, blah, 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 blah. It's abuse. It's abuse. God says, give off the best. I am saying that God gives me the wisdom to say that. Just give off a good vibe. Just give off a good vibe. Not a hostile, bitter, angry vibe. And that's not easy to do all the time, because we all feel we have an axe to grind at times. At times we all feel we have an axe to grind. But the thing is to give off as good a vibe as you can and find the way to do it. Find the way to do it. There was also a bus crash in Cuba where 2 Canadians were on board, only had minor injuries, luckily, or thank God, and some people died in that bus crash. It was around Havana, apparently, somewhere around Havana, and I had a dream when around 4 or before 4, I was quite aggravated, and the bus crash happened at about 3:50 this afternoon, and I was sleeping at that time. And I had a dream either earlier or after then, because I didn't wake up until midnight. But I believe it was during the day that I had this dream, because I remember waking up and it was still light out. So I think I had this earlier. Who knows, maybe right around the time of the bus crash. But I was going to be traveling, and I was going to be getting on a plane, and I was going to be going with a tour group, and there were 2 tour groups. two different tour groups. Like there were going to be two different buses taking us to the airplane, and I was being, that's I kid you not, honest to God, that's what I dreamed. And I was being so slow on it and just messing around and farting around and smoking pot that I thought I was going to miss the bus. Oh my God. As I just recall it now, of course, like I know I was there. I know I was there. But I was going to get a ride with somebody because I didn't think I would make the bus. That's what it was. Yeah. Definitely I was there. Of course, God, and this will always happen. I just have to write down my dreams before I see the news. I didn't write down my dream before I saw the news thing. But because I came down at like midnight. It's now 5, so I came downstairs about 5 hours ago, and my man told me about the bus crash. So I know that God and I are always there in cases like that, and it will happen again that I'll write the dream and something will come in the news like that specifically links it, in my opinion anyway, to me being there. The dream is linked to the accident or murder or whatever. Yeah, that's the way it is. Anyways, I'm going to sign off for this for now. I'll do another random pick. I'm not. Maybe I will do a random pick. Actually, I will. I'll do it. Okay. Let's just write down here. It is 5:03 a.m. the 12th of January. We were going to take a river trip where I have been before, to the city that's at the end of where the river is. Yeah, and there was a crocodile. There was a crocodile in the yard of one of the places that I was going to be leaving from to go on this trip, and we were all making sure we weren't carrying grass, and I didn't know where my passport was, but everything, when I got to where the the head guy for the tour thing, when I got to where he was, when I actually got to see him, then he had my passport and everything, so I didn't have to. But I was quite aggravated there for a little while, not knowing how I was going to get to the airport. I was quite aggravated for a time there. Yeah. Oh, definitely, I was at that bus crash, and also in Cuba too. Definitely. Okay. Let's see what we have here. God and I were there. I don't go anywhere without God. God and I are like this. Together. Okay. Right hand random pick. Let's just get the glasses ready. Move that over there. perseverance, perseverance, persever. Actually, the word is persever. Persever. That's the word I was right on. And God help us. Probably limbs missing because of the bus accident Friday afternoon. Yeah, just, oh my God. Okay, so consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him. Didn't I just say that? And when he asks, he must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea blown and tossed by the wind. That man should not think he will ever receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all he does. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. God gives to everybody. But I have underlined there. Okay, and here that's James. James 1 and 3. So it's actually 3 that I got. Because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. That really doesn't make a lot of sense. Perseverance. Perseverance means that you stick to something and keep working at it. Mature and complete. We're always a work in progress. Mature, people are mature at age 3, so I don't go for that. Not lacking anything. Well, whether we have faith or perseverance, there could be by times everybody's lacking. Who is it that is not lacking at all? So that complete, not lacking anything. But a lot of people lacking things. But anyway, I'm not lacking anything. But this is the one. James 1:5 and 6. James 1:5 and 6. God gives wisdom. Just ask. So I will read that again. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him or her. And when he asks, he must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. Okay. We'll just leave that at that. And I will say good night. Thumbs up. God is our creator. God bless you.